So if we don't yet know each other, my name is Cherie Malcolm Goddessai, and I will host a webinar and I'll share acute information and strategies on how you can become a psychedelic integration guide. And I'll also share specifically details about my certificate program, which is called Psychedelic Education and Integration Guiding, Empowerment through Psychedelic Entrepreneurship and Service, and how specifically you can apply to the next cohort. So the number one question I get over my years of being an integration expert, and this is partially why I really wanted to put this webinar together in this program, is to answer this question of how I can get involved in the psychedelic field. And specifically, where can I become a psychedelic integration guide? And I myself want to be an integration expert. How can I basically do what you do? Where can I train to do what you do myself? And I get asked this because if you are here, then you probably know that there aren't too many options out there to train to be a psychedelic integration guide, right? And so little, in fact, so little opportunities that the number of programs that I personally know of myself are 2 programs. And yes, you totally heard that right. There are 2 programs, again, that I know of that effectively train and certify people to become expert psychedelic integration professionals, specifically a coach. And you might wonder, basically, how could it be that with all this demand that we have in the world going on right now, how could it be that there are only 2 integration specific programs out there? So this wasn't really an issue until very recently, right? Because as you know, psychedelics, for the most part, they're still illegal in many parts of the world. And yet, ironically, research shows that many people, millions of people actually, have used psychedelics and they're still using them. And now that clinical research is showing unparalleled results in treating mental health conditions and disorders, and we're so very close to seeing some changes in legislation finally, like MDMA-assisted psychotherapy is due to become legal and as early as 2021. That's literally next year. And we have, of course, the psilocybin initiatives that are being pushed in state ballots as we speak, like in Oregon, for example. So the need for psychedelic support professionals has suddenly become very real. And the industry is in a current wormhole because specialized and expert training programs on this topic have not yet been set in place. So in this webinar, my intention is to share exactly where and how you can become a professionally certified psychedelic integration guide, and of course, get involved firsthand in the psychedelic renaissance that is happening right before our very eyes. So I think the reason people come to me with these questions about how they can become psychedelic professionals is probably because of my personal background. And you know, every person has their own story and their healing journey. And I would like to share a little bit about it with you. Professionally, I've been working as a psychedelic integration coach since 2016. And when I say work, I mean work. Like, I really work it. I haven't been doing this as a side gig to dabble with psychedelics as a part-time job while I make money elsewhere. This has been a full-time, round-the-clock passion of mine and a lifestyle of mine, literally since the beginning of 2016. So I've been around for a little bit, and certainly over 5 years now, with all the different integration projects that I'm involved in, it's a good chunk of time to be around doing what I'm doing. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, you know, how is this even possible, right? If psychedelics weren't legal then who exactly were her clients, right? And if there isn't much training available at all, even now, then how did she train then? Well, how did I do what I was doing is maybe because you might be thinking, well, maybe she had like tons of like previous experience with psychedelics, and maybe she, you know, her parents are like super hippie groovy and like let her try LSD when she was 16. And I want to share a minor detail with you that I actually full-fledged started regularly experimenting with psychedelics only in mid 2014, which means that it was about a year, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, about a year before I decided to and became a psychedelic integration person. So basically, you heard this right. It only took me about a year and change from only beginning to understand how incredibly powerful and life-altering these substances are, from there to like becoming a fully fledged psychedelic integration professional. And I was such a beginner and so far removed from the psychedelic community and the world at that time that, in fact, I was working as a traveling makeup artist, and I got completely disenchanted by that profession and with my life at the time. I mean, surely it was paying the bills and I got to travel to fun places, but I knew I wasn't even beginning to tap into my potential. And in many ways, it was really purposeless to me. Like, to feel that lack of purpose made me absolutely miserable, if I have to be candid with you. I truly felt like I was disrespecting myself by working in that job, dishonoring myself. Like it was like a betrayal to my soul. And it burned me. It burned me on the inside. And I was desperate to find what my life's purpose was. But I had absolutely no idea of what my next direction would be and how to move forward. So that's where I was at the time. And then into my life came psychedelics. And I was totally into the art and music festival scene and the Burning Man culture. I'm a burner. And then I began to experiment with psychedelics lightly and casually, or as they say, recreationally. And I began to seek them out as part of the experience of visiting these festivals. And in 2014, I went to Coachella for the first time, also my last time, but that was my first time. And in a casual and super uneducated manner, like I'm talking about not even knowing what set and setting were, okay? Like that uneducated. I unknowingly ingested a pretty massive amount of MDMA. How massive? I can't really be entirely sure because, you know, it's not like I pulled out the scale or anything in the middle of a festival, but I'm estimating it was a minimum of 300 milligrams, which, and you know, if a single typical dose of MDMA is around 100 milligrams. So without getting into detail, this was an experience that completely blew my brains out, my heart, my soul, my spirit, everything just blasted right open. And I felt like I was given a massive gift, and I quickly got on a path of self-exploration through psychedelics. Exactly 6 months later, I somehow knew my purpose was to help people heal through psychedelics. And I felt like I found my purpose, and there was no question or doubt about it in my mind. And with all the odds and challenges that I had in my life at the time, and with all of that, my life literally turned around in like lightning speed. I'm talking like within 45 days, I was sitting in a classroom in graduate school and studying to be a psychedelic therapist. That's how fast it was. And honestly, at the time, given the choice at school, okay, because it wasn't a psychedelic program. It wasn't at the time. I signed up to get a master's in psychology, but this is a really totally interesting story, but that I'm not going to get into detail. But every paper that I had a chance to write about psychedelics and speak about psychedelics, including my master's thesis, I wrote about psychedelics. While I was in school, I was also enrolled in other professional trainings, and I initiated independent study projects, and I became an assistant researcher with a psychedelic therapy clinic in Mexico. And I got heavily involved as a community activist in Los Angeles. And basically, I surrounded myself with anything that resembled psychedelic knowledge so I could prime myself as best as I could to become a psychedelic support professional. So you can imagine also maybe that I also had, up until then, my fair share of psychedelic experiments at the time. And I started doing the work around integrating those experiences so I could actually experience it for myself and transform my life through it. So, I use these tools specifically with intention for psycho-spiritual growth to transform my life. And I basically was preaching this to every single person I met. Like, I was straight up obnoxious if you ask some people, but whatever. That was who I am then. And okay, so what has exactly materialized for me in my life since that Coachella experience? You might be interested to know this, and maybe you do know some of these things. If you follow me, if you're like part of my audience and kind of aware of my professional journey. I keep going like this because I have something in my eye. But basically, 5 years, okay, we're talking about 5 years. Here's what happened. Professionally, my name has become somewhat synonymous with psychedelic integration. My website, psychedelicintegrationcoach.com, has been fluctuating at the top 10 Google search results when you Google psychedelic integration in the past few years, including being literally the second listing right under the MAPS integration list for 2 consecutive years. So I'm not anymore, not right now. I checked yesterday and I was a little lower than number 2, but I was under MAPS number 2 on Google, which is super interesting because I've never gone out of my way to fix SEO, do search engine optimization, or place any Google ads, nothing like that. I've never done that. I'm not technical in that way, but I'm listed at the top of Google. Go figure, right? That's one thing that happened. And then I co-founded a professional integration providers network, and I founded one of the largest psychedelic integration communities in the world right here in Los Angeles, Psychedelia Integration, which is now a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization, and I serve as its board president. And this community has birthed and nurtured multiple psychedelic leaders standing in their own right and serving in their own right, and they're absolutely amazing, and it's been so amazing to witness their journey as well. Another thing that has happened is that I created a successful private coaching business model, integration coaching, and I have a thriving practice with lots of success stories, and operating the business entirely out of my home. And this is way before the age of COVID. This is actually, it's become that because I'm a mom to a toddler, and that has been basically the necessity out of my life to integrate my role as a psychedelic professional into my the other roles I have in my life, which one of them is being a mother. And I do that. And then I also started producing educational events and teaching live and online seminars, and basically teaching others has become such a foundational part of my work that, get this, I've been asked recently by Antioch University, which teaches clinical psychology, to create and teach a psychedelic integration course for psychology students in their clinical therapy program. And yes, this is real. And yes, I'm pitching myself because it's amazing. And I specifically remember while I was a student there that I said, in my very naive way, one day I'm going to teach here. And it's totally happening. It's happening. It's happening. The syllabus is in review and in committees as I speak. And so that's another thing that's happened, right? I'm about to be a professor at the university teaching psychedelic integration. Also, I've created, part of my creation of creating more and more vessels for the wealth of integration related content that have, again, originated over the years. I'm also the founder and director of an online psychedelic educational platform called Psychedelic School. And I'm the creator of a professional psychedelic integration guiding business program probably the first of its kind in the world, to my knowledge, which I offer through Psychedelic School as well. And I'm also gestating 2 books about psychedelic integration and transformation. And most important, and the most amazing honor, and the number one reason that I do everything I do and wake up with a song in my heart every morning, is that I've had and still have the incredible privilege to support and serve thousands of people that are undergoing psychedelic healing and transformation. So as a result, I'm also experiencing the most financial abundance that I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm making significantly more money than I ever have before in any of my other careers. And I've held multiple careers. And I'm also learning how to scale and grow right along with my business, because entrepreneurship is a massive personal growth vehicle. And I only straight up just recently owned the fact that I'm an entrepreneur. Because in my mind, I was just a psychedelic integration person trying to help others. And then I'm realizing more and more now that I'm absolutely an entrepreneur, and all the challenges and growth and responsibilities that come with that. So that is all professionally. This is what has happened is materialized in my life in the last 5 years professionally. Personally, I found my soulmate. I'm married to a psychedelic person called Dr. Ben Malcolm. Some of you might know him. He's an amazing pharmacologist and a professor at Western University. And we got married, and we have an amazing little light of a daughter. And we basically built and created life together. Also spiritually, what has materialized for me, I'm literally on a journey of endless learning and growth. And just like everyone else, really, and the healing don't stop for a minute. The healing don't stop, okay? I'm not enlightened in any way, shape, or form. If I know anything now, is that I don't know anything. I'm just doing my best to try and show up in the world in the best version of myself that I can. And, but since I found my purpose and living my passion as a psychedelic person, that professional, so that fire of certainty fuels my bones every single day. And I thank God for this life, because it's straight up filled with miracles, and I see miracles all around me every single day. So that's basically my story in a nutshell, okay? And now I'm getting back to how I achieved all of this in 5 years, okay? How I became an integration professional that's making an impact on multiple levels, okay? So here are the 3 things that have made the difference for me in my life and got me to where I am today. The first one is educating through proper professional training through different programs that I took. The second one is undergoing personal growth and development, undergoing this process. Specifically for me, it was through psychedelic integration with external support and mentorship. And the third one is acquiring the business entrepreneurship skill sets that support my practice of serving others. So again, I'm talking about investing in professional training, personal development, and business skill sets to support my service to others. Those are the 3 things that, the 3 foundations that got me to where I am in 5 years. So if you remember at the beginning of the webinar, I mentioned that there are only 2 integration specific programs that I know of, right? Well, one of those programs includes all of these 3 elements that I just talked about, and I'll give you a hint, okay? So it is the professional certificate program that I created, and the one that I want to share with you about a little later in the webinar. And it's the first and only of its kind in the world, as far as I know. I'm saying as far as I know, but I'm also very confident about it. Psychedelic entrepreneurship, training to be an integration person. It's a pretty unique combination. I don't know, if you hear of anything else like that, please let me know. I'll be super curious to hear about it. So while you're here, if you want to learn about how you can become an expert level successful and high integrity psychedelic integration professional that want to serve in the psychedelic renaissance, then again, I'll share more about this program in just a bit. So when people ask me this question of how I can get involved in the psychedelic field, then typically also ask the next question is, do I need to become a therapist first? And when they ask that, I ask them this. This is the conversation that I have with them, okay? Or I stir them to, okay? So I ask them, have you tried psychedelics yourself? Okay. Before you tried them, did you ever wonder what it was like? And did you ever ask others to describe it to you? And were they able to? And now that you know what you know, are you able, with your experience, to explain to others who are inexperienced? Are you able to explain it to them, what the psychedelic experience is like? Are you even able to explain what the psychedelic experience is like to people who are experienced with psychedelics? Maybe. For me, definitely not too often. Basically, what I'm asking is, knowing what you know, would you trust a person that has never tried psychedelics to guide you through an experience? Okay, think about that for a minute. So my answer is, right, after I take them through that entire process, my answer is that to learn psychedelic integration and to truly get it, like to get it, okay? I mean, really learn the ins and outs of it, the complexity of it, the multidimensionality of it. Okay, it's one thing to learn theory and methodology, but to know what it looks like moment to moment and to know what is possible over time, you have to experience it for yourself over time. So the clinical therapy or psychotherapy skill set is absolutely useful and in some ways necessary, okay? If you are planning on supporting people that have acute mental health disorders like post-traumatic stress disorder or bipolar disorder, which that's a class of people that typically they're not recommended to say that it is thought that psychedelic experiences are not typically safe for this particular group. But for example, who is able to work with this population to support them clinically? So psychology theory is absolutely useful in integration, right? Because we're talking about personality changes and we want to know how to map out the personality and work with it and to understand consciousness and learning how to work with emotions. But you can learn psychology through different avenues. So it doesn't have to be a higher academic degree, and you don't need to be a therapist to learn these skills or even to use them professionally to support clients, right? I mean, there are many different healers who offer different emotional intelligence and emotional labeling and management strategies, right? That's not reserved solely for clinical therapists. But what I'm saying is that psychedelic integration is a multidisciplinary field, okay? And you can specialize in different client groups. So you can focus on the client's specific needs. And then from that place, know what skill sets you should acquire. So for example, you know, there could be a demographic of people who suffer from addictive behaviors, or those who want to undergo creative undertaking. They want creative breakthroughs in their life, or they want to undergo a psychospiritual growth experience and life optimization so they can manage their life better. So yeah, absolutely. Psychedelics, they're pertinent to mental health, excuse me, but it is not only solely about that. It's not just about mental health. And if anything, here's a little anecdote is don't forget that therapy programs don't teach about psychedelics or integration. They do not, at least they haven't until very recently, they do not talk about psychedelics or psychedelic integration. It's not part of the academic curriculum quite yet. It's not. They might talk about peak experiences like Abraham Maslow's theory which did talk about peak experiences, and maybe they'll mention Jungian psychology if it's like a depth psychology program, maybe, but they don't specifically talk about psychedelics. This is all very novel right now. So no, you do not have to get a higher academic degree or to be a licensed psychotherapist to work as an integration professional. What you do need to do, what you should do, is get educated and experience specifically with psychedelic integration. Okay? So there is a difference between the two. And again, I just want to reiterate that it depends on the audience that you want to work with. Again, if you want to work with people that have severe clinical depression and help them mend that, then maybe a clinical degree could probably be in your best interest to get, because you will understand that client better and know how to support them better ethically and professionally. So again, different clients, different methodologies, different training. So the reason I mention education specifically is very simple, because the majority of clients, okay, that approach me right now in my practice and have been for the past 5 years is they look for integration support, and they're typically upper middle class individuals, typically, who at least in the last couple of years, ever since How to Change Your Mind came out by Michael Pollan, okay, it's definitely been more that class of people, and they read that book and they want to try psychedelics like Michael Pollan did. So they're either inexperienced or very mildly experienced with psychedelics themselves. They're typically not experienced psychonauts, or, you know, they've been around the block in that term. But what this means is that they have a lot of questions. They come in with a lot of questions like, what will help me heal? Which drug should I take if I'm on this medication? Can I do this on my own? What is it going to feel like? And I think one of my favorite questions is it going to make me crazy? How can I make sure that I don't die and that I don't go crazy, right? And honestly, you know, who of us, even the most seasoned psychonaut, I don't know, in some way maybe still has these questions, even after trying them multiple times, and maybe even more in some ways with certain substances, right? But basically these clients, they're coming in to consult, okay? They're coming in for consultations, and they want to hear what they can anticipate. They want to learn as many useful tools and resources as possible. And they're seeking to learn all of this, guess what? Not from someone that has just studied and memorized it from textbooks, okay? They want to hear it from someone who has been there themselves. And someone, more than that, someone who's been there, and someone who has used these exact same tools in the same places and have made it to the other side safely and somewhat sanely, at least somewhat, right? Sanely, okay? Sanely, and tell them about it. That's what they want. They want to see with their own eyes the end result of psychedelic therapy and integration. That's what they want to see. They want to learn the strategy that got that result. So that's what the clients had come in to see me. And then my sole opinion is that people that provide the level of psychedelic support and have not obtained that level of education through firsthand experience, and again, I'm saying firsthand experience because there are so many, a lot of psychedelic people, professional psychedelic people, and all the different types of like psychedelic professions that we have these days. Okay, not just supporters, but more celebs, maybe authors, maybe journalists, maybe people that host podcasts, maybe people that have retreats, maybe people that talk about microdosing, maybe people that have their feet wet, or, you know, put together conferences, or even the scientists have their feet wet and like in the psychedelic renaissance somehow, that you can tell from the way they speak that they're not really experienced with psychedelics. You can tell that they do have a passion, and they're complete allies, and they're absolutely interested in, you know, in being a voice for this intelligence. for the potential, and they believe in it, but you can tell that they don't have that firsthand experience because not necessarily because, but a lot of them also don't talk about it at all. And I feel like you can tell when a person has been there versus those who haven't. So basically, I think specifically now getting back to the idea of integration support, which is a very like intimate relationship based, again, support system orientation. I feel that people who don't have that firsthand experience in integration, and again, this is my opinion, I don't feel like they're working ethically, and I don't feel like they're serving their clients with high integrity. I just don't. And again, at the same time, okay, psychedelic integration right now is currently the most coveted gateway into getting involved in the psychedelic renaissance. Why? Because it's not regulated, plainly and simply put. It's not regulated. There's no oversight. There's no accreditation committees. There's no licensure required, right? So basically it's a title, and it's a field that, you know, a lot of, you know, we're kind of like putting the language to it as we go along because it's so novel. It's definitely not novel shamanically speaking and in other cultures, but now in the West, we're trying to do it differently in a way that's more supportive of our current culture. So, and that is new. So, but basically it's a title that's open to anyone who wants to support others, right? Because again, it's not sanctioned under any type of accreditation. So this is not necessarily a good thing, okay? Don't forget that the subject matter that we're talking about is psychedelic, mind manifesting, soul manifesting. Basically, we're working with people's psyche, which is very delicate and very precious. And these experiences can be extremely traumatic and seriously injure people. Okay, I cannot say this enough. Not just the experience itself, but even these integration relationships. They can be very triggering to people. They can be traumatic. People get hurt in these relationships. I've had my share of clients actually that have come to me after they've sought psychedelic healing or support with other even centers, even doctors, ketamine clinics, right? Like people that are licensed. Because those people didn't have proper specific integration training, then the client got hurt. So I've had multiple clients like that. So, you know, the reality is that with the current political stage of where we're at with a drug war, these foundations, they're not made available to a very large demographic of people who use psychedelics, because what politics is trying to do is we're not going to acknowledge the problem, and that means it doesn't exist, right? Which of course we know that this is a big bunch of BS, right? But for us, okay, as psychedelic people, we have the massive responsibility of regulating ourselves. And we have to ensure that we're doing really good work, great work, and investing the time, investing the energy, investing the resources to get us to a place of that we're educated, that we're adequately trained, that we are developed enough to support others properly, and with or without a governing board, okay, oversight. The role of a psychedelic supporter is to serve with knowledge, with high morals, with high ethics, with boundaries, with integrity. Okay, so what I'm saying is that good intentions to just want to heal everyone with psychedelics, that's not enough. It's not enough. And intentions are one thing, and skill building is a whole other story. And basically to serve in the psychedelic renaissance, we need both. We need both of those, both good intentions and good skills. So if you're thinking, okay, wow, this is a problem, you know, there are so many people who use psychedelics and there are not enough professionals who are trained, but number one, drugs are illegal, right? And number two, there aren't enough establishments who offer this training, right? And I totally get it. But, you know, you're so right. You're so right. This is exactly the loophole that we're in these days. And that's why I am here today, is to let you know and share with you that yes, this class of drugs is mostly illegal in many parts of the world, but not everywhere, okay? And you probably know that, right? So most importantly, I do want to focus on the fact that proper training is available, and this is what it looks like. Okay, and this is basically the program that I've put together called Psychedelic Education and Integration Guiding, Empowerment in Psychedelic Entrepreneurship and Service. So this is my offering that I created when I recognized this major gap of not having proper training options for people who do want to do it right, and who do want to serve with integrity and do want to invest in acquiring the education and skill sets. And they're not only not afraid of going through the necessary inner investigation that will transform them personally, but they are yearning for it. So what I'm talking about is a 9-month educational soul retrieval and business blueprint journey that includes theoretical, practical, and experiential framework and study. And it's a 3-level program that tackles psychedelic entrepreneurship in service from 3 angles. Number 1 is a professional training. Number 2 is a personal development. And number 3 is the business skill sets. And if you remember from earlier in the conversation, that's what I talked about the 3 pillars that helped me get to where I am today. So you first, in this program, you first set the solid foundations for psychedelic support for others and for yourself. That's how it begins. It all begins and ends with you. Then you dive deep into the well of your psyche, and you're going to explore it and meet your soul's purpose and its light. And then, not a moment too soon, then you're going to emerge and rebirth this light more authentically so you can show up as your highest truth in the world. And effectively stage yourself as a successful psychedelic support professional that does have the practical and modern tools to be of service to others and create greater positive impact. So this is exactly what we need right now. If you are living on planet Earth at mid-2020, and especially in the US, we've been through a few things in the last few months, right? And basically we're going through a mass collective transformation. Massive one. More people are turning to psychedelics, and more people basically need our support more than ever. And it's all happening right here and right now. And I created this program in the light of everything I learned on my path of psychedelic entrepreneurship in the past 5 years. And basically what I did is I took all of the risks I've taken, all of my chances, all of my opportunities, all of my trials, all of my errors, tons of mistakes, tons of times that I've literally fallen on my butt, to put it very mildly, and gotten up again, and my wins and my losses and my accomplishments and my regrets and my could-haves and my should-haves and etc. And I basically designed this program to be the fantasy training program that I wish I could have taken 5 years ago when I just started out and literally had to invent not just what it looks like to be a psychedelic integration professional, but what psychedelic integration is. It's a theory, it's a methodology, it's a framework, it's a lifestyle, it's a spiritual journey towards wholeness and towards healing, personal, collective, a journey of healing to be of service to others, but really mostly to heal ourselves, because that's the only way that we can heal others. No matter how hard we try to heal others, the only way that you can heal others is first heal yourself and be healing. So really this whole thing, everything I'm talking about, this was all once just a vision in my psychedelic imagination. And it has realized in real life in the most mind-blowing ways, and honestly, way more than I could have ever fantasized about, really. And that's like psychedelics for you. And just like I did back then after Coachella, I still want everyone, that's the truth. I got out of that Coachella and I was like, I want everyone to have what I just had. And that's still the truth. I really want everyone to experience the most incredible, heart-opening, love, joy, blessed life that I feel like I have. And with a lot of trust, with a really high sense of trust in everything that is happening, even with everything that's happening right now, I trust. I feel like there is a path, there is a way, there is a reason. And yeah, I want everyone to feel that way. I want everyone to feel this anchored and this inspired really by everything that is happening. And really this program is my way of serving up the mega dose of MDMA and spreading that healing effects globally. And that's a truth. That's a truth. That's a secret. And being the person that I am, it's really important for me to do it right. And I really want like only the people that are truly ready for let's call it what it is. It's lightning speed transformation, personally, professionally, and breakthrough. And I really just, this medicine is for a specific group of people. It's not for everyone. It's potent stuff. And I also know that I'm not here to serve everyone, but those that are feeling called to it, and yeah, those are the people that I want to serve. So what else? To make sure that you get a thorough psychedelic education and a supervised experience. Okay, here's what I'm talking about. Also, it's the supervised experience in a long-term integration incubator, and learning how to walk with the ability to clearly articulate your mission, because there is a business element, right? There's lucrative marketing strategies, and you can serve the world. And that's why I only work with a very small group of people at a time. And I mentor you directly to teach you almost everything I know. Not everything, but almost everything I know about becoming and operating as an accomplished pioneer in the field of psychedelic integration. You know, this is all pioneer work, and the people that are joining this movement right now, they're really pioneering the next, this is the third wave, pioneering and ushering in the third wave of psychedelic work. And basically you receive in this program all of my tools, all of my techniques, all my strategies, down to detail, even including my arsenal of resources, that you can take everything that I teach you and provide it to your clients when you start your own practice later this year, if you join the program. And I'm also including an element in this program, which for me was really missing when I became a coach. And it's also, honestly, it's an aspect that I feel a lot of people in the psychedelic community shy away from, which is money and business management. Okay. Let's be real here. Okay. This is money as part of the equation. You want to sustain yourself. You want to live a life of abundance. So in this program, I teach you how to approach marketing as a vehicle for executing your purpose and your sacred service, and to get your message across, and your story, to tell your story. So I teach skills that are hyper relevant. And, you know, at this age now, it's all about digital marketing. And this is basically, again, this is what I've been doing for a couple of years, 2-3 years now. Yeah, about 2 years now, since I had my daughter. So as I mentioned earlier, there's tons of personal growth that comes through entrepreneurship, tons. And basically, we're going to work on major personal empowerment through the business module in the program. And what else? So I'm also a depth psychology scholar. So my methodology is heavily infused by it. So by virtue, the program is really designed with as a container for you to undergo a deep integration process yourself. And that's the experiential part. So you go through what I call the integration initiation, right? And basically you receive direct guidance and support from me and from the group throughout the journey. So you basically learn how to guide others by being guided. And you learn from the depth of your own experience. So you're able to create your own original blueprint of what psychedelic integration would be like for you in your practice and find your style and your niche. So again, I'm providing the framework and basically is a space for you to create yourself. There's so much room to explore the psychedelic integration support right now, and tons of like different audiences and demographics, and there's lots of room for growth here. So basically, this is how, from the depth of your experience, that's how rich and unique your professional practice is going to be. And that's what I want to provide for you. And that will basically be your client's experience. So your hero's journey that you're already undergoing, obviously, in your life, and everything that you've done up until now in your life is, brought you to where you are today. And add to that the hero's journey that you will go through in this program, which is the experiential aspect of it. That's going to be your story. This is exactly the medicine that we need in the world right now. So your story is the medicine we need in the world right now. And in this program, you're going to learn how to extract this story, this soul medicine, your soul medicine, in its purest form. And you will bottle it and learn how to serve it. And you can see I love using metaphors. Okay, this is my poetry. Okay, this is my integration poetry. But yeah, you're going to take your story and you're going to learn how to sing into the world. And again, your song is what we need. Your song is what we need. We need this type of creativity and creation, of course, very much rooted in like real life stuff, because at the end of the 9 months, you're going to be awarded with a professional certificate of psychedelic education and integration guiding. And by the way, I do just want to say that I did choose the term guide over coach because, in my opinion, guiding is a more accurate depiction of the psychedelic support process. And I'm not just talking about guiding as in psychedelic guide to, you help someone take mushrooms and you're their guide. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about guiding clients on the integration path that we have walked ourselves, and therefore we have a better understanding of what that looks like. Again, integration here in real life, not in the psychedelic space. Not that there's much of a difference, but that's another story. It's another story. But basically, I've always felt like the term coach has this like cheerleadery type of vibe. And don't get me wrong, I'm totally, I'm a certified coach myself, and it really is an excellent professional credential, but still the term guide, I feel truly captures the essence of the professional role. And that's why I chose it for my program. So again, guiding people through the integration journey. And really, this program is so much more than just acquiring information to become a professional someone or like a stamp of approval. It's you live through it, you earn it, you become it, you become the living proof to what psychedelic integration can do and all of its potential. And that's why clients will be drawn to you. Again, you're not becoming an expert telling someone else's story that you read in a textbook. You become an expert with your own story. Okay, so yeah, so if you'd like to apply to the program, I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that in just a minute. And I'll tell you that really this program, out of all my client services, right? And again, I do all these different things that I talked about earlier. I'm a consultant and an educator and a writer and the founder of a nonprofit and a community organizer and activist and coach. And really, the certificate program is truly the service that most encompasses my entire integration philosophy and my methodology and the techniques that I've learned over the years of supporting thousands of people who use psychedelics. So all the strategies, all the tools, interventions I've developed, and again, I've developed them out of like real field work that, you know, in my integration practice. This is what I used to help my clients succeed in their transformations and sustain their results, okay? I'm not just talking about you help a person integrate for 2 sessions after their experience and then call it a day. Integration is a process. It's life. Integration is life. So all of this is in the program. And I also want to make clear that my integration philosophy and my methods, okay? I'm not saying in any way that they're the ultimate psychedelic integration theory. Certainly my program is not the only way to become a psychedelic integration professional. Absolutely not. Again, there is one more program out there that I'm thinking about, which is actually one of the ones that I took as well. And I'm going to give a major shout out to Deanne Adamson, the founder and creator of Being True to You coaching certificate, and definitely one of my mentors. And I loved her program, and it gave me so much confidence and knowledge and tools and a lot of skill sets that I've based my work and my practice on. So there are other options in that regard to acquire expert knowledge. That definitely exists. This is what I'm sharing here in this webinar, in this program that I created. This is my story. And this is what has worked for me, and what has worked for my clients. And I'm putting myself out there. I'm putting myself here in front of you, and I'm offering it to teach it to others really who want to know exactly how I did it, right? People ask me all the time, how did you do it? How'd you get to do what you're doing? What's your secret sauce? Well, here it is. I took my secret sauce, the million ingredients that went into the secret sauce that I've refined over the last 5 years. And the secret sauce is in this program. And I use the exact same method to transform my life and my practice. And again, the thousands of people that I've been so humbled and grateful and fortunate to assist. And yeah, I'm also offering it because it's important for me to pass on all of this information, because I fully believe in the bottom-up approach, okay, of by the people, for the people. I came from the people, okay? I'm an immigrant. My English is my second language. I have all the trauma that comes from moving across the country as a child, sorry, not across the country, across the globe. As a child with no language, and I'm a daughter to a parents that are uneducated, barely finished high school, still to this day living in a very modest apartment, and barely speak English. And literally to this day, honestly, they don't even know, like, it's hard for them to even understand what I do. And but yeah, I've had my share of struggle to get to where I am today, but I'm here not despite my struggle, but because of it. Excuse me, I got so excited that I knocked out the laptop. And, you know, obviously this tension has fueled me my entire life. And it's really invited me to keep growing and creating, and like creating beautiful things, and to have that fire to keep growing within myself and get to my purpose. Find that purpose, find that meaning. And I have arrived. I have arrived. So my people, especially now, okay, at this time that psychedelics are literally exploding at the scene, and there's no healthcare system to catch, okay, and to mend these pieces that are literally, like, people are, in many ways, you know, they're coming together, in many ways also falling apart. They're looking for community. They need resources. They need support. They need allies, okay? They need allies they can trust. And it's in our hands, okay, to take care of one another and to usher in this new era of consciousness on this planet. And you're here. I'm going to assume you're here because you have a passion within you to serve this era and to serve others and to serve the psychedelic renaissance. So basically now you don't have to wonder how you can do it. I hope so, with everything that I've shared. And it's really taken me my entire life experience and then over 5 years of self-study and designated field work to create this program. And it's based on numerous client cases and my academic psychology studies and my multiple professional development trainings in the fields of consciousness and mental wellness and holistic therapy and business marketing. And of course, all the years of supervised therapy that I have and invested in myself. And all of this cost me well over 6 figures over time. And all of this has really helped me create this program. All of this journey is totally infused, and this program is based upon it. And I'm offering it to you right now for the price of $6,789. And if you're a person of color or an immigrant, holla, immigrant, or an LGBTQ identified person, then you receive an automatic $1,500 scholarship to the program. I really want, it's my intention. This is my third cohort and my third cohort program that I'm offering. And it's really my intention to make this group as diverse and inclusive as possible, because that's the change I want to see in the world with everything that's going on. So, so POC peeps, please, I really want to have you in this program, and you get this automatic scholarship. So how do you apply? Okay. How do you apply? Go to psychedelicintegrationcoach.com/certificate program. Maybe my amazing assistant Mariana can put that in the chat box now, the link, and you click apply. And the entire curriculum of the program, by the way, for the 9 months, and all of the program's details are spelled out on this page. The curriculum is pretty ridiculously amazing, if I say so myself, and maybe a testament to, again, everything that that my work is about, and you can get a better understanding of what you're looking at. So when you apply, you just have to write at the bottom of the application if you're applying because of this webinar. And the 5 first people who are going to enroll in the program through this webinar are going to receive a bonus gift from me, which is enrollment in the first online course we have up on Psychedelic School called Psychedelic Therapy from Theory to Practice. And the first 5 people who pay in full to the program, first of all, they get, if you pay in full, you get 10% off the program, the full tuition price. And you also receive full access to 2 additional courses that we are going to have on Psychedelic School soon. And there are going to be quite a few of them coming up on all different topics like pharmacology and neurobiology and shamanism and all about psychedelic healing and therapy. So those are the bonuses, and I want to offer you guys for listening in until this very end of the webinar. And yeah, so that's how you can apply. And I've begun conducting interviews for the program. I don't teach this anywhere else, and no, you cannot learn this anywhere else. So this is here, and this is your opportunity to learn to become a top-notch professional psychedelic integration guide. For me, a renowned pioneer in the field of integration. And I'm super honored. I'm super stoked to go on this journey with you. It gets more beautiful every time, that much I can tell you. And really to start mentoring a small group of soul travelers. And again, I'm humbled, so eternally humbled to do this work. And I just want to thank you for committing yourself to serving this movement with integrity and with desire to show up in your best version of you that you can show up here in the world. So thank you so much for watching and listening to me spiel all of this. I know it's a lot of information, But again, you can click on the link in the chat box or just go to Psychedelic Integration Coach /certificate program. And that's it for the informational section of this webinar. So I hope you got all the information that you needed. And I will take some questions right now. So I'm going to look in the Q&A. Let's see. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, some people ask questions that I feel like I already answered. Let's see. There are a lot of specific questions, like about specifically how to hold session ceremony, how to hold space, how to go about the integration process. Well, these are great questions. These are exactly the things that I talk about in the program in incredible depth. So I hope you can join the program. Do clients expect you to supply them with a psychedelic? You can turn to have the practice that you want. I personally have disclaimers on my website that I do not provide psychedelic therapy journey work, because I do not provide psychedelic journey work, and I do not also provide them with references to how they can get illegal substances. But you can, of course, make the choices that you want. But what I do get asked that, obviously, and then my question to them, or sorry, my answer to them, my response to them is, in your area, there is a psychedelic community, and you will find it by Googling psychedelic societies or going on Meetup and looking for psychedelic groups and see what meetups they have. And by connecting with others that are like-minded, you might find what you're seeking. When will I start teaching my course in Antioch? I don't know yet exactly. It's supposed to be sometime this year, either fall or winter quarters. What skills more specifically do I consider fundamental to psychedelic integration assistance? Great question. And basically all these skills are listed in my curriculum because I teach them. So it's a very long list. Specifically, it has to do with, again, cognitive, emotional, somatic, spiritual, lifestyle, environment. So those are the main skills. And then, of course, I break them down into very specific topics. And again, this is all on my website. There's so many of them. There's somatic psychotherapy to art therapy to shamanism to, again, psychology. I've talked about that a million times. Emotional intelligence, energy work, parenting, inner child wounding, family systems, disintegration, identity issues, stuff like that. So many, so many. And I teach them at the multiple, I think we have 36 weekly classes in this course. So basically we meet 36 times for an hour and a half. Plus there's those are weekly classes. And then we have another weekly peer support call to help you process information deeper. So every week I talk about what I consider to be fundamental to psychedelic integration assistance. So get that 36 topics. It's pretty thorough. Let's see. The cost, the application. Yes, again, the cost is 6, 7, 8, 9. Before the scholarship, if you can, if you're able to accept the scholarship based on the criteria I mentioned. And of course I have payment plan options as well. So you can pay monthly throughout the program. And all of that is also in the application in case you forget the price for later. Yes, you can email me, absolutely. Yes, payment plans. Yes, absolutely, payment plans. Thank you so much for spending time with me here. So many questions. Wow. Thank you. Yes, the price, I'm going to repeat it, $6,789. Interviews have already started. Basically, as soon as you apply, you will receive an invitation to interview. And yeah, this program is capped at 20 people. So it's a small cohort, and yeah, the first people, I guess, grab the interview spots and pay the enrollment fee. If they're accepted, then that will be the group. Legality, thank you. This is a great question. Legal issues. So legal issues is, and I do talk about this in the program as well, but legally, there is no issue in talking about psychedelics. We do have freedom of speech. I do make sure in my work to, first of all, advise to the client. I tell them, first of all, what I do and what I do not do. And what I do, and this is all over my website, in the footer disclaimer, in the Q&A, in the contact page, and in the consultation request form, is that, again, I do not provide psychedelic therapy and I do not provide illegal substances. So that is the first thing. And I just make it abundantly clear that this is for harm reduction purposes. This is for emotional support. And I provide information that is based on science, on clinical studies, on shamanism, on things that actually happen. And I also, you know, I provide this information, but I don't tell my clients, I tell them, you know, I'm not advising you on what you should do or should not do, saying this is the information. Information is power. This is what you should consider. And then from here, please, you know, you're welcome to make your decision in regards to, you know, if you have making the decision to go and seek out psychedelic substances illegally. And again, they're not fully legal. Like, there are places in the world where people can do psychedelic work. For example, South America, for example, Jamaica, for example, the Netherlands, right? So it's not that, you know, we're not allowed to talk about it. Because again, people do it. And again, there's actual clinical research that millions of people use psychedelics. So we're attempting to support these people. But again, not to tell them what they should and should not do in that way. When will the next start date will be following this one? Well, this particular cohort is starting July 1st. The next one, probably next year. I'm already teaching 2 other ones right now. So the next one will probably be in 2021. Would you say this course is appropriate for practicing therapists? Absolutely. Absolutely. And here is why. It doesn't, I do have, again, that the educational background. I did study psychology. I went to therapy school. They do not teach you there how to, again, to approach these peak experiences. So I am certain that therapists who are, even if they have the therapy training, they do not have any training of what I talk about in this course. Most of it, I mean, it's definitely created upon the great knowledge, body of knowledge that has been here for millennia before I even ever existed. And you know, the knowledge I've created is built upon that, but a lot of it is original content that came from literally from hours upon hours of real life integration work. So yes, it is definitely a clinical therapeutic skill set. And as mentioned, I'm going to teach it at Antioch University. They think it's clinical, they think it's appropriate and needed. So yes, it is appropriate for practicing therapists. Live trainings, yes, absolutely. Actually, for the whole time that you're in the program, we're going to meet once a week online. And we will also have an option, world events permitting, to actually go on a medicine retreat together as a group in an international location where it is legal to do this work. So yes, part of the program is an option to join such a live medicine retreat where we can practice everything that we learn. Schedule, calendar, time commitment. Again, they are on my website. just so you can read it later. But again, we do start on July 1st, weekly. It will be this cohort will be on Wednesdays at 12 Pacific time, 90 minutes for the classes, and then additional weekly peer support calls on Mondays, I think at 11 a.m. So the classes are mandatory. Of course, you know, if you have to miss a few, that is fine. You can make it up later because you're getting recordings of everything as well. The peer support calls are not mandatory, but they're definitely there to help, you know, to help you deepen the learning. What else? And of course, there's the, you know, we have tons of at-home assignments, and you get access to my comprehensive online course. So I would say, additionally to the time that we spend together, the actual like inner work integration process and learning and assignments, probably another 2 to 3 hours a week. Also depends on how much you want to invest, you know, how much time you want to invest in the program. You're definitely going to get more out of it the more that you invest. But yeah, I would say between, you know, 3 to 5 hours a week total, probably. If this training to be capable of guiding psychedelic journeys or specifically guiding the post-journey integration, or both. So the intention of this program is to help to become a psychedelic support person that helps before, during, and after. With the during part, I specifically want to clarify that I'm not encouraging anyone to partake in any illegal activities or do any illegal underground work. I'm also acknowledging that, again, there is a lot of work that is legal and will become legal in the next few years. So for example, ketamine-assisted therapy is legal, cannabis therapy is legal in many states. So there aren't, of course, if you travel to Mexico, for example, and you want to help someone journey, you'll definitely know how to hold space for that and conduct a ceremony. However, I'm really focusing specifically on psychological support. So yes, before, during, and after. So I hope that answers your question. But what I'm not doing here is I'm not trying to train anyone to be a shaman. That is not what the program is. It's, again, more of to help you become a psychedelic integration support person at any stage of the integration process, which in my opinion happens the moment that the person thinks about taking a psychedelic and never truly ends. Yes, payments are accepted, absolutely. Why should a therapist do your program rather than the psychedelic assisted therapy program at CIIS? Thank you, wonderful question. The therapy program at CIIS, is, to my knowledge, is more research-based. It is less experiential. They definitely do not talk about or explain the methodology of psychedelic integration. They might mention it, but they don't talk about the integration process. And it's also less of a personal development program. So what you get at that program is information, sound information for sure, that is rooted in the clinical research. But it's, again, it's an informational program. This program is informational, which educational, personal development, and business strategy. So it's not a certificate to just add to gain expertise in psychedelic integration, but literally to undergo the integration process and grow with it. And of course, be able to support others, and very masterfully so, as well as know how to offer it to clients, again, as part of service, so of conscious service. So that is my response to that. Also the time, the material that I teach in this program is richer. I know that for a fact. The curriculum is very different. We also meet more often. Would I recommend this program as the first thing to learn in the coaching, guiding, therapy area, or should I follow more general courses to do this program once I have more general background? Good question. So I'm not really sure what other general courses would be. We do have in the first module of the program, which is called Psychedelic Education, I do go through the more general background in this program as well. Honestly, I'm tooting my own horn because it is an amazing program. It's like a one-stop shop type of program. It is. If you do want to specialize in, again, in acquiring like a clinical degree and getting that particular psychology, personality, clinical skill set, do that as well, or do that before, but this course definitely provides you with all the professional tools, and it's really meant to be kind of like a comprehensive, again, professional certification that people that have no experience, no knowledge, no prior knowledge can enter this and gain all the knowledge that they need to become professionals in the field. That's how thorough it is. So it's really up to you, what you need right now at this season of your life, where you are in your development and how, your resources. So yeah, I hope that answer helps. And are entheogens such as ayahuasca considered psychedelic? Will we include these substances in this training? We do not use any psychedelics in this training. You are not allowed to arrive to our classes under the influence of any substance. This is not a part of the training. I do not encourage, support, or condone illegal substance use. As mentioned, we will have an opportunity as a group to join or travel together to an international destination and partake in a ceremonial experience to live everything that we talk about as part of the experience process. But we will not be taking any psychedelics in this program, aside from that. How would I compare the program to the Being True to You certification? Thank you. So Being True to You is a very comprehensive program as well. It does train you to become an addiction recovery and psychedelic, and they call it psycho-spiritual integration, but they definitely do talk about psychedelics. And it's a shorter program. I think their program is 3 months. Again, very comprehensive, but it's a 3-month program. Yeah, tons of information, not as experiential in the regard that I was explaining in the webinar, which is, again, we undergo, the reason that it's 9 months is, again, it's a soul rebirth. You go through the integration process and the soul retrieval yourself as an individual in the group. That's how the program is designed. I believe in integration is a long-term process. So we follow basically in the program my protocol for psychedelic therapy, which includes a very long integration stage that includes processing, reflection, dismantling of old blockages, redesigning your life, stuff like that. So there are the specific stages to the journey. And again, Being True to You is extremely informational, tons of great material. Again, I love them, can't recommend them enough. Tell them I said hi, tell them I sent you if you decide to go to that program. But it's it's apples and oranges, apples and oranges. Yes, I hope that answers your question there too. So that's what I have to say about that. No CEUs, unfortunately. My dream is to, and I feel like I'm really laying the foundations to that right now, doing what I do and attempting to bridge this gap in psychedelic education, is to become accredited one day. That's what I'm working towards with Psychedelic School, to having it become accredited. So currently no CEUs, and I'm not seeing it right now in the next couple of years either. So yeah, no CEUs right now. It's just a professional development program that stands on its own. So that answers, I think, all the questions. Are there any other final questions or thoughts before we conclude? I don't see anything else. All right, thank you everyone that has jumped on our call. I wish you health in the body, calm in the mind, truth in the heart, truth in the soul, and let's also all together wish for peace on the earth. And may you all continue your respective journeys with a lot of light in your hearts and conviction, and feel the full support that the universe has offered for us. And I'm sending you much, much love on your journey. And please be in touch if you have any further questions about this program. And of course, there's the application on my website, as mentioned. So much love to you guys, and have a blessed rest of your day. Ciao.